Got free squared coming in for a re-custom on a T-Rex that I'd found at Goodwill. He does this cool little thing where you pull his tail down, he'll chomp and try, and he's got good articulation in the neck and he can move around. Not the most articulate, he doesn't have knee joints, he doesn't have the extra toe joints, but pretty good figure. I already kind of started on some parts of the custom with his fingernails, just trying to see how that would look. But as you can see throughout the figure, he's got some scarring and everything that's just not painted in. Over here some face scarring because he's coming from the Rexy mold from the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movies. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna create him into the release of the 1993, the first actual T-Rex that was released whenever Jurassic Park came out. Now granted, it wasn't nearly articulate, it was like an all rubber model, couldn't do anything. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take what we can, and we're gonna do our best to try and make this guy more of a modern version, kind of like the one that was released about a year or so ago, but kind of give it a little bit more detail, so focus on the scarring and everything like that. So stay tuned while we do that. All right, so one thing we're gonna have to do, you're gonna take your safety razor or your X-Acto knife, because we're gonna be painting it. We don't want these folds to rub off due to friction over time. So basically what we need to do is kind of scrape it up a little bit just so we get a little bit more clearance through there. So we'll go through like this and just scrape off any excess in there. Just do a few passes through. And it also makes it a little bit easier for the paint to kind of settle in as well, because I see right there where it's really connected, so we just need to shave that down. And what we'll also do is we'll bring in some fine sandpaper to kind of fit in there and really bring it down. So the way that I do that, I take it, I roll it up, and I feed it inside, so. Let them rotate. All right, now that we've got that done, what we're gonna do now is we have to kind of find the paint color. So what I'm thinking is more of a dark red, so we'll probably mixing some red with some brown, probably a little touch of black, and see if we can get that color. All right, now that we got our paint mixed up, we're gonna take a pretty thick brush, and we're gonna lay it on pretty thick up here. We're gonna make sure it spreads out. Now, this is gonna come off a little bit dark, appear to be a little dark, but that's fine because we're gonna go across it later with some highlights to really lighten them up. Alright guys, so we've got them all painted up, got a fresh coat. Some of it's still wet back there, but for this next part, we're going to focus on the face. So what we're going to do, as you can see, the face is almost entirely red. You have the teeth have a little bit of leftover paint, but we'll fix that later because we're going to paint those too. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our black paint pen, and all these extra scales up here on the face, we're going to kind of dot those up, kind of give it a little bit more texture. This can take some time. It can be a little tedious, but it does add a decent amount of detail. What we'll also do is probably blacken up around these eyes, just to add a little bit more texture in there. touch up the eyes a little bit. We tried to use paint pen at first, it didn't really work, so we're gonna use a very fine tip paintbrush. So I'm gonna use this green paint. I know it was originally yellow. I think we'll go with the green. Maybe make it a little bit shiny and see how that plays out, because something about having a dinosaur with every dinosaur that you see has the yellow eyes, and they look good, but let's see if we can make it our own. Scarring is on the right, my right, his left side of his face. So up into the neck area. If he'll stand up for me, it looks like he wants to fall on over. We don't want that right now, do we? Stay up, stay up. Perfect. So for this, we're going to use more of a skin of a flesh tone, and we're gonna mix it in. We're gonna mix it in with the red from earlier, but we're gonna keep the fine brush for it. Battle damaged. So I touched up the eyes a little bit. I think I gave him pupils while we were off camera for a second. Now, something that people might have noticed, and I definitely did, was that these teeth, right? Obviously we're gonna repaint them, but some of these teeth, especially like this one right here, it's like one big tooth made out of three. So I'm gonna take my X-Acto knife and just try to sharpen those up a little bit, make him really stand out. This tooth, hopefully I don't take them off completely, but just really shave into them. And then we can paint into that too. Some gums, like a gum line. We'll start looking into painting the teeth, and then looking into dry brushing some red accents to make that red come out before we put the stripes on them. Okay, so now I've painted, I've got enough paint to make a gum line and teeth. So we'll start with the teeth with kind of like an off-white cream. Make sure to kind of match what was already there. So be careful to really just focus on getting the teeth. Brush. Start hitting some dry brushing up top. So the technique about dry brushing, essentially what you want to do is get a bit of paint on your brush, and then go over it, like wipe it off on a separate board or a separate palette that you have, and then paint it in. So I'm doing more of a cherry. I probably add now that we got that painted up and it's all highlighted, now we can start looking into, so he's got about the level of red that we're looking for, or that I'm looking for mine. Obviously, if you want to copy this, if you want to get inspired by it, you can make it a little bit more. But we came across the face and really highlighted him up. So now what we have to do is we need to take him, we need to put stripes on his face and his snout and down his back. And at the same time, we're gonna have to get prepared to kind of put some flavor on his underbelly. Because you see we have a little paint run down there, so we're gonna do a more of a yellow down there too. So we'll start on the snout. With this one, it's not gonna be a dry brush, it'll be actual paint. So we have to paint the stripes in. So we'll come across. I'm using a little bit of a reddish tint to this black. I'll probably make it a little bit darker than this though, just because we don't want it to dry lighter. But we'll see how it plays out. Then we might make it darker. Alright guys, so I've painted some of the scars in. I actually scarred up on his right side, my left. But now I'm starting to paint the gums, right? I'm trying to be careful as to not paint the teeth again. I'm using the same color for the scars and the gums as like the healing tissue. Imagining that it heals back in this pink color. Alright, so now we have some of the details done. We have the gums and some more scars painted. He's fully dry, so what we're going to do is got to flip him over and find all the areas we haven't got to touch up yet, and as well as doing the underbelly. So over here on the legs, we still have some orange coming through that we're just going to paint up with red and then flavor it up. Backs of the arms, things like that. And then under here, we're going to do a yellow. So I'm going to put the base coat. All right, now let's have time to dry a little bit. We're gonna lighten up the paint, and then we're gonna dry brush just like we did. Now while we're waiting, we're gonna make a little wash. So we're gonna use the alcohol. And what you do is you add that in there, and then you mix it in with whatever color you want to wash. In this case, we're gonna use black, and you just need a little drop of that, and it'll begin to separate. Just mix it together. Alright, so after hitting it with a wash, I went over it with another red. As you can see, it kind of gives that wet wound color. On this side, you can definitely see it a little bit better. On the legs, it adds that pink. And down the tail. And then right here on the back, a decent amount of damage, so it looks a little bit more fresh. You can make it darker to make it look like scarring, or if you wanted like fresh wounds. So what I'm gonna try to do now is I'm gonna try to make a green wash and go over the eyes with it, and try and see if that adds a little bit more gloss. If not, I'll go foul. Alright, for the final touches on our Rexy, what we're going to do, we're going to take our little paintbrush, and we're going to take some clear high gloss, right? So that Dura Clear, you got it from Hobby Lobby, you can get it from most of your arts and crafts stores. So yeah guys, this finishes up the build of the classic 93 T-Rex. If you have any thoughts on what could have been improved, please just comment or message me and let me know. Any ideas of something that you might want to see going forward. But I like the way he turned out. I think that there's a few things that we learned, especially since this is the first custom I've done. But I was also happy I was able to kind of make it my own and kind of go off script. But it was pretty cool because we got to go from what we had over here with this guy and turn him into this guy right here. So I like him a lot. Can't wait to